Dark Souls and Elden Ring do indeed need easy modes, but not for the reasons you think. What's up guys, Acer Thorn here, and this is my 2 cents on From Software's 2 most popular franchises. When it comes to the debate of whether or not these games need easy modes, it usually boils down to 2 main arguments. First, in favor of easy modes is the argument of accessibility. If an easy mode were added to the games, more people would be inclined to play the games, thereby increasing its sales and popularity, and as long as the mode was optional, it wouldn't intrude on anyone who doesn't want the mode in it. On the other hand, opponents of an easy mode argue that the challenge is the whole point of these games, so an easy mode would just gut the games. They further argue that those who fail to get good honestly don't deserve to play Dark Souls or Elden Ring, and that if they want to have fun with these games, they need to earn their fun. Now, when it comes to traditional arguments, that's really all there is to it. It's mostly just these 2 arguments being shouted on an endless loop, with no further development, because each side sees their argument as singularly definitive in the debate, while simultaneously seeing the other side's argument as patently frivolous. For this reason, no side feels the need to consider anything further because each side feels their own arguments are enough. However, there's actually a third argument to this debate, and it's one that I feel breaks the tie in the debate, causing easy modes to ultimately win out. But before we can talk about that, let's talk about the Fromsoft Fanbase. The most popular video on my channel as of the time of this writing is one where I explain that I feel Elden Ring sucks. Not because of any of the story or game mechanics, I literally haven't even played the game, but because the Fromsoft fanbase is so incredibly toxic that it kills the game for me just on fanbase toxicity alone. I don't even have to play the game myself to have this opinion, because by that logic, you can't really judge Fred fucking Phelps unless you've actually participated in his little religious cult firsthand. The vast majority of Fromsoft fans are the kinds of toxic shitheads that you would expect to find lurking among the deepest bowels of the dark web. From the point of view of a vast majority of them, everyone in the world can be lumped into 2 categories. Either you absolutely worship the ground that Dark Souls and Elden Ring walk on and would sell your soul for the chance to stand in the shadow of Hidetaka Miyazaki's ass for even a split second, or they are a bunch of filthy casuals who need to kill themselves. There is no in between. I previously did a live stream debate on the toxicity of the From fanbase. In it, my debate partner showed me a Reddit poll where a lot of people insisted that the fanbase isn't actually that toxic. If you want to hear the counter-arguments I've already made to that little piece of so-called evidence, go ahead and check out the archive of that video. Instead, I have a new counter-argument to make. Yeah, unlike you guys, I actually update and evolve my arguments. Anyway, the problem with this poll is that it doesn't take into account people who believe the toxicity is fully justified. See, a lot of people tend to subconsciously believe that whenever some sort of adverse action has a moral justification to it, that's basically the same thing in their minds as it not even being an adverse action in the first place. For example, if you kill in self-defense, that's basically the same thing as not killing at all. At that point, the victim effectively killed himself. This applies to toxic behavior as well. Take, for example, this Reddit post, where the OP insists that he's not the asshole because he's treating a rapist with the respect he feels rapists deserve. Now, from an objective standpoint, he is indeed being super toxic towards this guy. But he doesn't see it that way. He sees his actions as being completely morally justified. Because of this, he doesn't even see himself as toxic at all. Justified toxicity is tantamount to lack of toxicity in the first instance. Now, for most of you, you can probably very easily tell the difference right now between justified toxicity and no toxicity, but that's probably solely because I literally just spelled it out for you. Yes, it's an easy enough concept to understand, but only when you are actively thinking about it. When left to your instincts, the knee-jerk reaction for the vast majority of people is to subconsciously think of justified toxicity as being fundamentally no different than no toxicity at all, and therefore deserving of identical treatment. That being said, let's turn again to the Reddit poll that my livestream debate opponent showed me. The second most popular response was that the community is actually wholesome and not toxic. But we have no way of knowing how many toxic shitheads voted that way solely because they feel that the toxicity that filthy casuals receive at the hands of the true Fromsoft fans is actually justified, which in their warped view is tantamount to not being toxic at all. So no, until I see unambiguous and unfakeable evidence to the contrary, I still stand by my initial argument that the vast majority of the Fromsoft fanbase is exceedingly toxic. Well, the From fans who believe that their games shouldn't have easy modes also tend to overlap almost entirely with those who believe that toxicity towards anyone who isn't head over heels in love with the games is totally justified and therefore not toxic at all. After all, their reasoning for not wanting easy modes in these games is, in itself, gatekeeping and elitist. They don't want easy modes because they feel that anyone who isn't the most hardcore of hardcore gamers doesn't deserve to play this game anyway. Once you've disconnected from reality to that degree, your sanity is already past the point of no return. So acting like Dark Souls and Elden Ring are literal deities is honestly small potatoes at that point. In other words, those who feel that Dark Souls and Elden Ring are better off without a bunch of filthy casuals stinking up the place are certainly of the same ilk that would feel like being extremely toxic to these people is morally okay. So how does this translate to the games being better off if they had easy modes? Well, if easy modes were implemented, the true Fromsoft fans would likely throw a big-ass temper tantrum. They would scream, kick, break a lot of things, and those of us who actually live in the real world would have a nice hearty laugh. And once that happens, the toxic shitheads will likely boycott Fromsoft fans in mass droves. This will cause the game's fan bases to dwindle at first, but now that the fan bases have become significantly less toxic thanks to their exclusion, more and more casuals will swoop in to fill the void in the fan base left by those toxic shitheads, thereby restoring balance to the universe, while the toxic shitheads get to do nothing but wallow in their own misery. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I believe that Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and every other game made by From Software all need to have easy modes included in them. It's not to make the games themselves better. It's to make the fan base better by doing pest control on the worst that humanity has to offer. So with that said, I bid you all adieu. Acer Thorn out. Peace!